inside the most controversial celebrity mansion. Hidden behind tall hedges and iron gates in Los Angeles stands a property that once symbolized glamour, excess, and freedom, and later became a symbol of controversy, secrecy, and cultural reckoning. The Playboy Mansion was never just a house. It was a brand, a playground for the elite, and eventually a lightning rod for criticism that changed how the world viewed celebrity power. For decades, the mansion represented a fantasy. But behind the iconic gates, the reality was far more complicated. A mansion built on myth. Purchased by Hugh Hefner in 1971, the Playboy Mansion quickly became one of the most famous private residences in the world. Located in Holmby Hills, just blocks from Beverly Hills, the Gothic-style estate spanned over 5 acres and featured everything from a zoo license to underground tunnels. At its peak, the mansion was legendary. Movie stars, musicians, athletes, politicians, and models all passed through its doors. To be invited was to be validated. To be photographed was to be immortalized in pop culture. From the outside, it looked like a never-ending party. The parties that defined an era. The mansion's parties were the stuff of Hollywood folklore. Lavish-themed events, celebrity-packed pool parties, and private gatherings blurred the line between social event and spectacle. Cameras were often allowed, but only selectively. What made these parties controversial wasn't just the nudity or excess, it was the power imbalance. Young women were often invited into a world controlled by older, wealthy men. While many attendees described the mansion as liberating and glamorous, others later described it as restrictive, controlled, and emotionally manipulative. Rules were strict. Curfews existed. Behavior was monitored. The illusion of freedom masked a rigid structure. Life inside the gates. For those who lived at the mansion, particularly the women known publicly as Hefner's girlfriends, life was far from spontaneous. Former residents later described scheduled routines, allowances, dress expectations, and approval systems that governed daily life. The mansion wasn't just a home, it was a controlled environment. Access to fame, money, and opportunity came with conditions. For years, few questioned it. The culture of celebrity protected the mansion from scrutiny. Criticism was often dismissed as jealousy or moral panic. Secrets behind closed doors. As social attitudes shifted, former insiders began speaking out. Memoirs, interviews, and documentaries painted a far darker picture than the glossy images once promoted. Stories emerged of emotional pressure, lack of autonomy, and an environment where consent was complicated by power dynamics. While not all experiences were the same, the volume of similar accounts forced the public to reconsider what the mansion truly represented. Cultural turning point. The mansion's image began to collapse in the late 2010s, as society re-examined long-standing institutions through the lens of accountability. What once seemed edgy or rebellious began to feel outdated and troubling. Shows that once glorified mansion life was re-evaluated. Celebrities distanced themselves. The mansion went from cultural icon to cautionary tale almost overnight. In 2016, Hugh Hefner sold the mansion, with a condition allowing him to live there until his death. When he passed away in 2017, an era ended. The mansion today. The property was later purchased by billionaire investor Darren Metropolis, who announced plans to restore the mansion and erase its party house reputation. Renovations began, and the famous grotto, once the centerpiece of excess, the illusion of access. Perhaps the most unsettling truth is how seductive the mansion was. It promised access to fame, to luxury, to a world others could only imagine. That promise kept people quiet, compliant, and complicit. For outsiders, it looked like paradise. For insiders, it often felt like a gilded cage. Today, the mansion stands quieter, stripped of its myth. But its story remains a reminder that glamour can hide darkness, and that even the most iconic symbols are not immune to accountability. The gates may be closed now, but the conversation they started is far from over.